Ladies and gentlemen, do you remember that infamous interview granted by a Nigerian called Emdee Tiamiyu? They said he used to be a police officer. Well, he got to the UK. Within the space of a year, he started famsing, acting like, like he over familiarized himself with the UK and acted like he has been there or he was even born there. There is nothing that he didn't do. He gave that interview and hell broke loose. The update that dropped on our desk is more like karma. Let us listen to this and we'll talk more. But before proceed, like and share, tap on the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell. I want to say a special thank you to those that have tapped on the thanks button. May God replenish your pocket. That button with the thanks and the love icon and the dollar sign in the middle of it. If you also want to be a blessing to this channel, you can as well tap on the same button.
This guy that reported Nigerians to the British government through BBC that Nigerians only use school as a route to come to the UK, that they don't necessarily come to the UK to school, that they are just coming, to work and, live in the UK. He has just been deported. Yes, he has been deported back to Nigeria. Firstly, he was arrested. Now, here's the gist. After he told the BBC News that Nigerians are only using schooling as a route to come to the UK, that they don't necessarily school, they just come here to work and leave, he was dragged. A lot of Nigerian youth threatened him that if he comes back to Nigeria, they were going to deal with him. And his name is Tiamiyu. As a result of this threat he was getting, he used the avenue to apply for an arms salon. British government gave him £160,000 to settle down in the UK since he said he was scared of coming back to Nigeria. Do you know what the guy did? The guy collected this arms loan and started investing it in Nigeria. He started buying properties, building houses, renting shops here in Nigeria. He collected from the UK, which is against the AMSA loan law. The AMSA loan law states that you cannot invest the money given to you in the country which you have said you are afraid of going back to. So the British government arrested him. Now, after he was arrested, he was asked to pay the loan back in 1 year, but he said he couldn't afford to pay back in 1 year, so the British government had no choice but deporting him back to Nigeria, and he will never be allowed to go back again.
Let us quickly watch that infamous video where this Tiamiyu was seen and heard yapping and talking and saying all sort of whatever it is, saying that Nigeria use study to gain UK entry and nothing more.
Official statistics are expected to show net legal migration has hit a record 700,000 this year. Our Home Minister, Mark Easton, reports.
Lights, a front room in the West Midlands, camera, a YouTuber helping Nigerians come to Britain, and action.
Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's your boy E to the M.
Among Emdee's hundreds of videos are guides on how to get a student visa to come to the UK.
Because there's new information regarding the student route to the UK.
Last year, a fifth of international student visas were issued to Nigerians, 120,000 people in total, half of them students, half their dependents. But Emdee believes many are actually coming not for a new qualification, so much as a new life.
So the student thing is not real. It's not like they need the degrees. They need the degree as an access route to come into the country. So a lot of these people get their priorities shifted real fast.
So it's really about getting into the UK.
Exactly.
And then not about getting a job.
It's not.
Like I promised you guys, I said I was going to keep track on that YouTuber called Emdee Tiamiyu, who gave that infamous interview on BBC. What he said sent shockwave all over social media, where he claimed that majority of Nigerians who visit the UK on study visa are not really there for visa. Well, after much back and forth here and there, it's not as if anyone was going to unalive him in Nigeria if he's to return. But this guy quickly probably had thought about this. They said he was a former police officer, a very corrupt one. Maybe he had thought about this and he already planned and plotted what to do. Immediately after the interview, he went to the asylum section of the United Kingdom, the Home Office, and said, sorry, guys, I did what you guys wanted me to do, what your government wanted me to do. what BBC wanted me to do. And now I have a problem. I cannot go back to my country. A huge amount of money was given to him. But now, something had happened. But before then, this guy came on some blogs here and there. And at first, he was afraid. But later, it seems he got one or two people to support him. And he felt good. But he knew within himself that what he said, like putting a blanket on everybody, did not go down well with Nigerians or even other Africans who are aspiring to apply for study visa. In fact, what he said sort of connected or came at the same time. The UK Prime Minister, a man who is a product of migrants, decided to put a stop to certain extras, or let's say privileges, that are attached to this to study visa. But what we are hearing now is a little bit not clear. This dude will be deported back to Nigeria after he had gone to ask for a huge amount of money, a loan. Actually, it's not a gift, a loan for him to settle in the UK. Now, this loan has rules attached to it. You cannot invest that loan in that country that you claim you cannot go to. The country that you claim is a threat to your life. You cannot invest. But this dude, from what we heard, allegedly used all the money that he got to buy houses, build houses, invested it in Nigeria. I do not really understand what this guy was thinking about. But we heard that he was arrested and he was being interrogated. They had tracked and done some investigation here and there. And they realized that he had done what he did. The question is this: did he plan this ahead? He knew at the end of the day he might be deported. And probably has looked at himself and his life and he felt, I don't think I'll be able to make this amount of money that I'll be loaned in my life. Let me get what I can get, invest it in Nigeria, because he definitely read the terms and conditions of the loan. So it's not like he's ignorant to it. If he did build a house in Nigeria or he stashed the money somewhere in Nigeria and felt at the end of the day, even if I'm imprisoned, the last that will be done will be for me to be deported. Once I'm deported, I can go back to Nigeria and still make use of that money. I will not pay back this money to the UK government. I'm not going to pay it back to the bank. I'm not paying nothing to nobody. But this is the same guy that gave this infamous interview where he spoke convincingly. If you look at his body posture, his facial expression, and the words spewing out of his mouth. In fact, people thought he was paid to do this interview. He was paid to say this. So the government of the UK, the Prime Minister, Sunak, or what is his name, will have a justification or be justified when he decides to put an end to the comfort or to the extra. And what is this extra? Once you apply for study visa, you can bring your immediate family along, and definitely a pathway towards citizenship once you can get a job after study. Now, the UK government initially put this in not because they really wanted to help, although it might be like a huge help. It's because they don't want you to send that money back home. If you're studying and you get a job, they want you to have everything centered here. It's more of a brain drain and also an opportunity to make sure that you don't send too much of your money home. If you have a wife and child at home in your home country, definitely you want to send back money home. So they decided to put this in. But Sunak, the Prime Minister from India, I mean, his parents are from India. Definitely he's also from India because the law in the UK states that you cannot be stateless. What I mean is, if Sunak is to commit a crime, the UK can strip him of citizenship and send him to the country that his parents are from. That's how it works. Yeah. So this Indian British guy, let's say attack the British, the Prime Minister, decided to come up with this measure, anti-immigrant, anti-foreigners, wasn't himself, he's the same, he came from the same boat. The UK used him to achieve. This is how they work. They have this, they have it, and there is something also about, minorities or foreigners who end up occupying positions in countries where they are not really, their race is not originally from. They tend to want, they have this foolishness ingrained in them. They believe by being harsh, being bad, being wicked, being too strict to minorities or to foreigners shows that they are British, or they are really into, or they love the country that they are born into. No, you cannot. At the end of the day, skin tone is important to many of these countries. They know that you are not British, regardless of your accent. Your parents were only given, your grandparents were given opportunity to come in here. It doesn't make you British. That is why they always have a second country to deport you to if you are to commit a crime knowingly or unknowingly. Yeah, that's how it works. They keep records of it. That's why when you fill forms, they ask where your great-grandparents are from, you write their names and all of that. Those records are to be used once they come up with a new policy. They'll say, well, your great-grandparents from Pakistan. So when you commit crime, they throw you down there to Pakistan. That's as simple as ABC. They don't care. It's the policy. And definitely more people will applaud them and say, yes, I mean, there are people who applaud them. So this Tiamiyu foolish guy did all he did and eventually scammed them of the loan. He invested it where he knows they can never, ever. He never had a plan or thought of living in the UK forever. No. That same country is where he wants to live. Maybe he will live somewhere in Ghana or some other African countries, or look for some other European countries, or run down to the US. But he knows that once I invest that money in Nigeria, there's no going back. They can't get it back. They will never get it back. He's going to come up with this ambiguous story of how the money, he used it in sorting family issues, he paid this. The UK government is not going to say, oh, you know what, you have to bring the money you give to your cousin, the money you give to him to get a car, the money you give to your auntie to open a shop, a business, a supermarket, the money you give to, he will say, I have to just settle family members because their lives, like after what I did, they started having issues. So I needed to settle my family members, settle them like, is it to bring them out of Nigeria? This guy has a lot of stories to tell them. He has a lot of stories to tell them. So what we are hearing is that he has been allegedly deported. But some people are saying, oh, we saw him online. He's still in the UK. He's not in prison. They have asked him to pay back what he owed in 1 year. And he said he cannot, but he will pay them back. It means he cannot be deported. Maybe they will not grant him citizenship, but he will not be deported until he's done paying what he has to pay. If it is in the space of 2 to 3 years, once you sign, you will have to pay. Once you are done paying, they might decide to deport you. You will have problems because they will not forget what you did. You will have problems. So this guy is so greedy, bad, wicked, just name it, is all of these things. I don't know what you guys think of this. Drop your comment, like, and share. See you in the next update.